Yeah, it's not the time to pump these brakes. I don't care how much I love her, how much money that I've made. That wasn't the goal, it never was. I'm trying to see what my zenith is, what it looks like to believe and strengthen all of my weaknesses. Inconveniences or hurdles, discipline jumps over. I want to see how it feels to do 12 months sober. I want to feel self-love without the vanity. I want to feel what it'd be like to give a Grammy speech. I want to see exactly how far I could take this independent thing. How high can I fly if I just learn how to extend my wings? What would it be like to be patient? This is a me thing. What would it be like to stop shaming myself to victory, so when I win it doesn't feel defeating? That's why I'm leaving, I'm seeking constant improvement. I don't have kids, but I foster the movement. The journey's a treasure, if I ain't moving, I'm losing, for real.
I've been priding myself on all of my patience, priding myself on all of my diligence, priding myself on all of my curiosity. I know I'ma get far if I work hard, giving shit up that I fucking love to death. When we called it quits, I was a fucking mess, but I gotta stick to my decision. Got that tunnel vision, baby.
If I give up on myself, that's giving up on the universe. In return, it give up on me. No more signs, no more new alerts. I'd be haunted by what if I went after what I wanted. Daydreaming about that nightmare is what prompted me to keep it going. I'm determined to see what life would look like as the best version of me. I want a body that looks sculpted like a statue. I want to not respond to everything if I don't have to. I want to heal the trauma from my childhood. I'm pissed off. I want to learn to snap less and use Wim Hof. I want to celebrate myself instead of waiting for others. I want to be a better friend, better son, better brother. I want to stop thinking that I gotta go through hell to get the credit I desperately need to give to myself. Across the board, I want to see what my best is. I want to prove it to myself that I can get this tunnel vision.
I've been
Blinders on.
priding myself on all of my patience, priding myself on all of my diligence, priding myself on all of my curiosity.
What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Look, man, it is Tuesday, week 12 of the fantasy football season. We are here for another Q&A. Hopefully you guys were able to get some wins there in week 11. I appreciate everybody who was here in the chat early. Trap, Burrito, Jag, Insidious, of course, mostly Drew, Jeremy, Corey, everybody who was here early. And Insidious asked what the song name was. That's called Tunnel Vision by Russ, one of my favorite artists in the game right now. Probably number 2, only behind Drake. Russ, R-U-S-S, that's all it is. But look, man, love that song. Hopefully we're going to be able to answer some fantasy football questions today. As always, if you guys want to support the stream, the best way to do that is to hit that like button. I see that we got a Trap in here saying, like the stream before you ask a question. That is awesome if you do that. If you want to wait until I answer your question, just show me some love afterwards with a like. Now, if you want to go above and beyond, the best way to do that is by going over to Underdog. New customers who use promo code LEAGUEFFB on Underdog when you sign up and play $5 in the app, you are going to get $100 in bonus funds that are going to be added to your account just to help you keep winning over there. Hopefully give you some free cash to play with, and that way you can turn that into triple, quadruple, 10 times your money maybe if you pick the right picks each week. So go over and try it out on Underdog. Like I said, it's free to sign up. You play $5, you use the promo code, you get $100. So that is the way to support the stream if you want to go above and beyond, like I said. Now, that is not why we're here. Let's hop right into the questions. I don't want to waste too much time or get too behind, so let's just hit it off, man. The first question that I have here is going to be from Trap. He says, I just clinched a playoff berth. Team's good, but Jacobs' injury hurts. Other running backs are Gibbs, Rashad White, Vidal, Trey Benson, CD Rice, Jetta's Lad. Should I hold or try to make a last minute move? And then he says Kittle and Andrews are the tight ends, Pat Mahomes and Caleb at QB. And so this is kind of what we're looking at, right? So if I'm looking at this team really constructively right now, I think right now with the running backs, Gibbs and the Jacobs injury does make it a very hard one to try and recover from, because I think Rashad White right now can't really trust him. Vidal can't trust him. I think Hampton's on the way back too. Benson, maybe sneaky, can get back into the lineup. If you're going to make a push in a dynasty league, maybe you can offer some draft picks to go get a running back. If it's not a dynasty, I can't remember if you just said it is. It might be a redraft. If it's a redraft, I'm probably looking here at probably Justin Jefferson, man. I'm probably looking at Justin Jefferson and seeing how can I down tier him and get me some running back help in the meantime for that push. That's probably the best thing you can do right now. And he says, much love. I appreciate you, man. Burrito says, outside of Mac Jones, Tyrod Taylor, Brissett, any backup quarterbacks to consider stashing that could be starters for next season? That's a great question. One of my favorite things to always do is go over to Spotrac. It's SPOTRAC. This is a sports contract site where you can look up sports contracts. One of my favorite things to do about this time of the year too, as we're approaching the trade deadline, is look up those stashes. So if I go over there right now, I look at the quarterbacks, I'm looking at free agents, right? We're trying to predict the market, teams that might be able to go get somebody. Daniel Jones is a free agent. He's going to get an extension by Indianapolis. Russell Wilson's a free agent. Would another team give him a shot, or could he go into a situation where he could at least compete for a job in the summer? Maybe. You have guys like Zach Wilson who are free agents, guys like Tyrod, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Aaron Rodgers. These are the names, and I think the best thing to do is try and pick your guys. Who's most likely to get a shot? Who's most likely to compete for a job? Because all you need is some ambiguousness to a quarterback room with one of these vets or one of these guys to go in and potentially win something. So I think right now, Russell Wilson maybe, but other than that, pick your poison. But I would suggest going over to Spotrac and do that for the other positions too. Running back, wide receiver, tight end. See if you can find some free agents that you think, if they hit the open market and get a change of scenery, whose value can increase over the next 6 months. That's definitely something I'd be looking at. Jag says, I've been playing quarterback carousel with Love and Nix. I told him that, I think this is the part 2. He says, predicament. I have Genty, Vidal, Pollard, Sharbs, and Hampton on IR. Start 3 wide receivers. I have Puka, JSN, Tet, Pierce Hall, and BTJ. But he offered Brees, Dobbs, and Purdy for Puka. And then he says, I've been playing quarterback carousel with Love and Nix. I told him that losing Puka would be too impactful to my lineup. In my opinion, I agree. It's too impactful to the lineup, not moving Puka. So if I'm picking 3 wide receivers here, it's going to be Puka. It's going to be JSN. And then I'm looking at these other players, right? I think for me right now, what I'm going to be doing is going with Tedero McMillan, coming off of a pretty good week last week. I have him as my wide receiver 14 right now in my rankings. Good matchup against San Francisco this week. So it's going to be those 2 guys, Puka, JSN, and Tedero McMillan for me here. So those are going to be the plays for me as a start 3, not trading Puka away. Jag says, 3 weeks away from the fantasy playoffs. It is right around the corner, man. We're right around the corner. Insidious says, I'm loving that Sam Darnold masterclass. Happens, man. We saw that happen last year when he was the Vikings quarterback. When they faced that same team, that Rams pass rush seems to have Darnold's number right now. Over the last year, it kind of has it. Good pivot options for Lawrence. That's not Darnold or Dak in a dynasty. Could you get a Daniel Jones? I think he's going to get an extension to be the quarterback of the future for the Colts. So could you get Daniel Jones? That would be another name. I think the 2 names you nailed are 2 names that are going to be right in that same ballpark. Darnold, Dak, Daniel Jones. Maybe a guy like Purdy. Maybe a guy like Jared Goff. Those would be the names that I'd look at. But you may have to give or take a little bit, just given the names that you're looking at here. What's up, Drew? Jeremy says, what's going on, Andrew? Listen, I want to know your take on Bashal too, and you think he has the potential to be RB1. He's a player right now that I think is interesting. Obviously, Travis Etienne, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the offseason. Probably going to go test the open market. I think if he gets an extension to go somewhere else, or I guess a contract to go somewhere else, it's not going to be an extension. Bashal Tootin gets very interesting. Still think that they're probably going to have to bring in another guy who can bruise in this backfield after trading away Tank. But I do think that Bashal Tootin is sneaky and somebody that people should probably be trading for right now if you're trying to project the future. We just talked about, free agents that you can go try and add for cheap, pennies on the dollar, that you're taking small little bets on to value or to gain some value insulation. I think you can make small little trades for guys like Tootin. Kenneth Walker is going to be a free agent. Can you go get Charbonnet right now on the low? There's going to be guys like Braylon Allen, who's injured and out of mind right now. You know, are you going to be able to go get him because Breece Hall's a free agent as well? I think those are all really good bets to make at this point in time. But and I like him. I think he's a solid running back. I liked him in this pre-draft process. I think he came in as like my running back 6 overall. He was behind the big 5 for me, which actually he was probably 7 actually, because I had him behind Harvey and Caleb Johnson. So he's going to be 7, I think, in my rankings pre-draft. I liked him. Caleb Johnson, speaking of which, future outlook. I want to blame it on Smith, but I don't know if that's just cope. I don't see why they would draft him if they don't want to use him. I agree. I think he's probably a player, though, that you feel a lot worse today than you do on draft day, and I think he's probably going to be somebody that if you're going to take a shot on him, I'm not spending more than a third to trade for him. But maybe he's a guy who just next year is the year that they start getting him more involved. I don't know. Sometimes you see that happen. It's rare, but sometimes we see it happen. And I think if I can get him for a third, probably. If there's anybody who still believes and is willing to buy him for a late second, I don't think that exists. But if somebody is, I'm selling all day long for a late second. Super chat here from Tony. Appreciate the super chat. That is the best way to skip the line, folks. If you want to skip the line, I'm yapping. You don't want to wait for your turn in line. This is the best way to do it. He says 1 quarterback, half PPR. Send Hunter and a late 26 first plus a 4th for Rice. In a 1 QB, half PPR, I'm down for this, man. I think Hunter's fine. I think a late 26 first is fine, but Rice, to me, he feels like a top-tier asset at the wide receiver position. Obviously, he feels better in a full PPR league, but a half PPR, I can't knock it either. I think this is a fine trade, and I'd be willing to do this for Rashee Rice right now. What do we got here? Corey says, Dynasty question, if not allowed, then skip. Brother, we got Dynasty questions all night long. Don't worry about whether it be Dynasty or redraft. The only thing that I ask you to clarify in your question is tell me, is it Dynasty or redraft, and I'll answer it. So you clarified, and I'm happy to answer. He says, if you're rebuilding, would you trade away T. Higgins for Bucky? I know you typically don't buy running back on a rebuild, but I think it'll be easier to pivot off of Bucky probably than T. It may. I kind of view them similarly, though, as Dynasty assets. I think it may be easier to actually pivot off of T than it is Bucky. It's just going to depend on your league. I mean, if you know there's people in your league that are fans of Bucky Irving and you can pivot because you know they're fans and they want him, then yeah, you can make the move. But I think these guys are pretty close already, and I wouldn't hate either of them. If I didn't know I could make a second move, or I didn't know, me not knowing your league mates, I think I lean T. Higgins still, though. Corey says Andrew just likes purple teams. When I was a kid, that's how I picked them, man. I was a Lakers fan first. Purple and yellow was the color theme of my bedroom. I had purple and purple and yellow Lakers wallpaper around my room. And when I started watching football, it was like, hey, I already got a purple and yellow room. Let's throw in some Minnesota Vikings stuff here. And I was a big fan of Adrian Peterson. I thought he was so fun to watch. But yeah, purple and yellow kind of just fit the theme for the bedroom when I was a kid. And when you're a kid, how else do you pick your favorite teams? You just pick your favorite colors, I guess. Patty says, what's the running back best buys for Dynasty contenders? No, number 2 in the league, but really just have Henry. Rico's going to be one of the top ones that comes to mind for me right now. I mean, CMC, he's going to be expensive, though. Other than that, probably a Javonte. I think that's it for me right now at the top of mind. Those would probably be the guys. Chase Brown potentially. But yeah, I think for me, I'm looking at like Rico Dowdle. He feels like he's going to give you the best bang for your buck if you can go trade for Rico. Start Purdy or Dart this week. Currently in my rankings, I have, let me see. I have Brock Purdy higher, but I think that's just with a little bit of uncertainty right now from Jackson Dart, clearing the concussion protocol. We'll see what happens throughout the rest of the week. But right now, Brock Purdy's a top 8 quarterback in my rankings, so I have no issues playing Purdy. Should I pivot off of Puka for JSN? Love Puka, but he's made of glass. It's up to you. Really, I think both of these guys are pretty similar. I prefer Puka, I think, to JSN, but you could argue that the situation for JSN is a little bit safer long term. Stafford, how many years is he going to play? I don't know how many more years he's going to play. I trust the Rams to get it figured out, even post-Stafford. But you have that argument, whereas Darnold has an extension, and I think he's played well enough to kind of earned that extension already up to this point. So, yeah, I mean, you could argue either one. I think for me, I'm going to go Puka still, though. If you're worried about injuries, though, I get it. VB says, for this week, who do I pick up, Gainwell or Wilson? I think I would go Wilson still. Gainwell feels like a good short-term option, but it does sound like so far Jaylen Warren's injury is less serious than we think it'll be. I still feel like Jacobs is still going to miss 1 to 3 weeks here, depending on how he trends in practice this week, obviously. Juan says, who for my wide receiver 2 and 3 and a flex spot? I got Devontae Adams at my wide receiver 1 and Jonathan Taylor and Travion Henderson at my running back 1 and 2. So the wide receiver options we're going to be picking from are Hollywood Brown, Tez Johnson, Parker Washington, Jordan Addison, Jacoby Myers, and then he has Zach Charbonnet, Josh Jacobs, and then he has Quentin Johnston and Debo on bye. Okay, but we're going to be looking at the running backs. You have to pick one of the running backs, so it's basically just Jacobs or... Oh, wait, you don't. That's a flex spot. I thought it was 2, 3, and a flex spot. Sorry, a lot of stuff here. Wide receiver 2 and a 3. If I'm starting it there, I'm probably going to be going with... It's not Hollywood. Let me reference the ranks. That's the thing about these Tuesday streams, because I do my rankings on Tuesday afternoon, so they're not at the top of mind right away. I have to reference them a lot more in these streams compared to the Fridays. I got Tez Johnson over Jacoby and Parker, so I'm going to go with Tez here. I got Jordan Addison above both. Give me Jordan Addison and Tez. And for the flex, if Jacobs plays, you got to play Jacobs in the flex. If he doesn't play, which I'm not expecting him to play, I think it's going to be Jacoby for me. So go Tez, Jordan Addison, and Jacoby if Jacobs doesn't play. If Jacobs plays, go Tez, Addison, and Jacobs. What do we got? Traded Travion Henderson for Derrick Henry. What are your thoughts? Don't mind it in a redraft. I think Derrick Henry's the safer play the rest of season. Henderson has higher upside, in my opinion. Right now, this week, as it sits, Travion Henderson is a top 5 running back for me in my rankings this week. But you have the argument that when Stevenson comes back, is he going to take some of that stuff? He probably can. But, yeah, I don't mind it if you're going for safety. I think if you need wins right now, I'm trusting Travion this week over anybody. Not anybody, but mostly anybody. AMJ says in a 12-team Dynasty Superflex full PPR and tight end premium start 11, I'm on an absolute skid, 6-5, and I need to stop the bleeding 4 straight. Quarterbacks are Baker, Burrow, Geno. Running backs are Genty, Barkley, Bucky, Harvey, Spears, Vidal. Wide receivers are Jefferson, Igbuka, Wilson, Debo, Higgins, Bowers, Henry, Gadsden at the tight ends. My question is, if I have to trade... If I have to trade that I'm negotiating for JSN, I have a trade that I am negotiating for JSN. It may be a mix of either a 26 late first and a 27 early first plus Higgins, or a 27 early first and a 26 early second plus RJ Harvey. Do either make sense? I don't love the late first and early 27 first plus Higgins. I don't love that. A 27 early first or a 26 and a 26 early second plus. That's the one I would prefer. Is the early first and 27 plus Harvey in a second. I think that's probably the one that I prefer. You say you have so many injuries. Not sure if you should simply sell off Saquon and Debo. I think here's the thing. If I'm looking at your roster constructively, long term, Baker, Burrow, Geno, you feel decent about that. But, it is a little bit older. Quarterbacks, I'm not as worried about age. Running backs with Genty, Barkley, Bucky, Harvey, Spears. Barkley is a guy that's a little bit older, but everybody else is fine. Jefferson, Igbuka, Wilson, Debo, Higgins, Bowers, Henry, Gadsden. I'm not opposed to doing both, actually, here, AMJ. I actually think you have an argument that you can make the move for JSN, lock in potentially a wide receiver 1 for your lineup the rest of the next 2 to 3 years, and still sell Barkley and Debo, get a little bit of a younger running back in there, and still make a push to play this year. I think there is a room for both of these options here right now. I think you can do both. I don't mind the RJ Harvey deal. I'm not doing the T Higgins one, but I think you have an option here to potentially do it. And I don't mind consolidation as well with some of the wide receivers. If you get JSN, Jefferson, and Igbuka, I'm okay consolidating Wilson and Debo together to get an upgrade, or Higgins and Debo together to get an upgrade, and try and go from there. So hopefully that gives you some things to think about. I know I didn't probably fully answer the direct question that you asked me, but I think there's room for both outcomes here, to sell the older guys and still make the JSN trade and still compete if you do it correctly. Anthony says, should I try to down tier from Rice to Ladd, or is that too much of a difference panicking after all those drops he just had? I don't think it's too much of a difference. I like Ladd a lot still. If you want to down tier, that's fine. I think it's all going to come down to what is the, added bonus that you get thrown in. That's going to make the difference for me, not necessarily down tiering to Ladd, because I still think Ladd's very talented. Dustin says, what's up, brother? Would you prioritize Wilson, Watson, or Knight? My team is pretty even as far as running backs and wide receivers go. Wouldn't mind throwing one of them in my lineup this week, though. If I'm plugging one of them in the lineup, it's probably going to be Emmanuel Wilson. Emmanuel Wilson's the guy that I would rather play if I'm looking for a 1-week play right now. He's going to be the guy that I'd probably prioritize to pick up. If I had to prioritize these guys in any order right now, I'd just go Wilson 1, Knight 2, Watson 3. Carson says, rebuild 12-team Superflex. Do I sell Dak for a single 27 first? If you're rebuilding, I don't mind it. I need that first, though, to be at least a middle of the pack first. It can't be a late 27 first, because I just don't know if you're going to get your value back. But if it's a late one, can you get a second thrown in? I think that's kind of the conversation that you're having. But if it's a middle to early 27 first, absolutely, I'm okay doing that in a rebuild. Start one this week, Purdy, Brissett, or Trevor. Got Bo Nix on bye. Who's better rest of season, Bo Nix or Purdy? I definitely have Purdy the highest of all of those guys. I would be playing Purdy. Who's better rest of season? That's a pretty tough question. Bo's been pretty inconsistent. Purdy has a kind of tough schedule over the next couple of weeks. He gets Carolina, which is a top 10 defense versus quarterbacks this week. Then he gets Cleveland, which is top 3 next week, a bye week, and then Tennessee, who really isn't a good team, but because they're not good, the quarterbacks don't perform because the teams just run all over them. I think I'm going to go with Bo Nix rest of season, but I'm fine playing Purdy this week over all of those other options that you have. My bench is Vidal. I don't want to drop till Hampton. Monangai, who has a role. White until Bucky, and Pollard, who sucks. Should I drop White and or Pollard for Emmanuel Wilson, Gainwell, Tootin, Knight? Yeah, I mean, look, here's the reality. I would probably still keep Vidal. I would still keep Monangai. With White, it feels like he's kind of lost all momentum that he had, and it is Sean Tucker now as the running back that they would like to use until Bucky is back. Also, Bucky might be back this week. He was at practice last week. So is he, another week of practice going to be good to go? We'll see. I'm okay dropping White. I'm definitely okay dropping Pollard as well. If I'm dropping Pollard and White, I want Wilson and Gainwell because I can go and plug them into the lineup immediately. Tootin's also another player that's interesting. I'm probably not dropping Pollard or White for Knight right now because Knight is a 1-week play for me until Trey Benson gets back. I'm viewing him on a week-by-week basis. So I'd probably be looking at those options, but I think you're safe to drop White and Pollard for Wilson and Gainwell if you can get them. And for the record, I would rather drop White than Pollard. So I guess I'd rather keep Pollard over White if you have to choose between one of them. He says start 2 this week, Wandell, Shakir, and Sticky Ricky. Might have Purdy if I win in waivers. Okay, interesting. I mean, Purdy and Ricky didn't do too much last week, but he was, still working his way back, which is to be expected a little bit. That's why he was lower in my rankings. When I'm looking at these guys right now, though, Shakir is the guy that I think I have the highest. Actually, no. I have Wan'Dale Robinson the highest. So I'm going to probably play Wan'Dale Robinson. And then I guess Shakir would be the next one. I have him over Sticky Ricky right now, or Ricky Pearsall. So I'm going to play those two guys. It's not a great matchup for Ricky. Carolina's top 8 against the wide receiver position. I see we got a super chat down here too. I am so sorry. I think we might have missed that a little bit ago, but hopefully not too long. We do have $4.99 that says need a wide receiver to add. I have Devontae, Rice, QJ, and Tez. Should I add Michael Wilson, Mooney, drop Tez? Running backs are Harvey, Hendo, Sharp, Warren, ETN, Monungai, Hampton. Need a win. So let's see. Devontae, Rice, QJ, Tez, Johnson. I mean, it's really just a matter of, are you going to be playing Michael Wilson, Mooney, or Tez? Who's the higher ranked guy this week? And for me, I currently have, where is he? I got Michael Wilson as a top 18 play in my rankings right now. So Michael Wilson would be the guy that I would be dropping Tez Johnson for. It would be Tez Johnson dropped for Michael Wilson. If it's between Mooney and Tez Johnson, I think I lean Tez still personally. So I'd only drop him for Michael Wilson. Let's see if we can get back to where we were. Appreciate the super chat though. Thank you. And sorry it took a little bit to get to that. I must have missed that coming in. We are quite behind. Sorry, folks. Start 2 this week. Wan'Dale, Shakir, and Sticky Ricky. I think we already answered that one. Yep, we did answer that one. The number 1 kicker, Dicker, is on bye. Is it worth holding on to him instead of a drop? If I don't drop Dicker, I'll have to drop Pollard for a kicker and risk not getting Wilson Gainwell. I mean, I'm always okay to do it, but I don't mind dropping Pollard for a kicker. Like, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. So I don't mind it. But I'm never like letting a kicker keep me from, a lineup decision that I need. I guess you just have to wait as to what do you really need this week. Who has a better shot at coming back, JD5 or Burrow? I mean, I would say that Burrow right now, considering that he's already set a target date, would be Thanksgiving. So I would say him. Since it's handcuff season, which 3 are the best? Corum, B-Rob, Tootin, Stevenson, Emmanuel Wilson, Pacheco, Knight. Also, I have DJ Moore on my bench. Is he droppable to get 4 of those guys? He might be if you're not using him each and every week. But if I'm looking at running backs right now for the highest upside, I think I'm just looking straight up at who are the best rushing offenses and who has the highest ceiling if somebody gets hurt. For me, that's Corum, B-Rob, and probably Tootin. Those are going to be the highest upside plays. Wilson is still fine because he has an injury to him right now. But I think B-Rob and Corum are going to be 1 and 2 for me. Shakir, DJ Moore, I'm going with Shakir. Should I drop Dak and Jones or drop one of my handcuffs of Corum, B-Rob, or Algier? I need to pick up a wide receiver this week. I usually use Jones weekly as my quarterback. I would not drop either of the quarterbacks. I would not drop those handcuffs either. I guess you have to drop one of them. I guess if you're using Jones weekly as your quarterback, then you probably have to drop Dak this week then. Start 2 this week, Godwin, Mooney, Shepard, Yoshavash, Imanner, Coker, Leggett, Tillman, Judy, or any Jets wide receiver with Taylor starting. Yes, I know they're all gross. I just want 10 points. If you just want 10 points, I'm probably going with Mooney and probably Yoshavash. Those would be the 2 that I probably play as long as Chase remains suspended. I know he's trying to appeal it, at least the last that I heard. Full PPR, HN on bye. Can I start Hendo and Stevenson as my RB1 and 2? Next best is B-Rob on waivers. Yep, you can play both of those guys if that is your next best option. And then if you're looking at these running or these quarterbacks, for me it's Flacco right now. And then you said Flex, Flowers, or Yoshavash. I'm going with Flowers, Las Vegas defense, or New England. I currently have the Patriots higher. In a dynasty, 12-man PPR 6 Superflex 6-point passing. Just traded Caleb away. My quarterbacks are Jones, T-Law, Tua, Brissett, and Flacco as a contender. Ooh. Thinking of sending T-Law and Jalen Warren for Kyron and Trey Tucker. Man, why are we trading Caleb away as a contender when that is the quarterback room that we're going with in Dynasty? I don't love that. I'll be honest, Nolan, I don't know if you can afford to lose T-Law in this deal. Moving forward with Jones, Tua, Brissett, and Flacco as your dynasty quarterbacks feels horrid. I mean, Jones feels good, but Tua, Brissett, and Flacco give me zero sense of security for the future, and this is a dynasty league we're talking about. Yeah, I'm probably not doing it. I would love to do this deal, but I think I just wouldn't do it because you've already traded Caleb away. I mean, I guess don't let that keep you from making this deal. This is a good deal on the table. Can you trade T-Law and Warren for Kyron and trade Tucker? I think it's fine. I just think you need the QB. T-Law is your best QB now moving forward. That doesn't make me feel good. What's up, Jonathan? My running backs for the one above are Cook, Javonte, and Warren. Setter, wide receiver, and tight end with Lamb, JSN, Pickens, Nico, McBride. Makes sense. Frizzle says, yo, what up? Do I do Sean Tucker, Kyle Monangai, or Booty in the flex? It's going to be Tucker for me right now, especially as long as Bucky's still questionable and not playing. Woody or Kamara? I'm going with Woody. Kamara cannot be trusted. Nolan says, another one for you, Andrew. I have Lamb and Pickens on my team contending. Is that a safe floor, or should I be working to trade one of them for a different wide receiver? Offered Lamb for Bijan, and the guy laughed. I mean, I don't think it's laughable, but I'd probably rather have Bijan. It's pick your poison on that one. I don't think that's laughable, but I don't mind you trying to move off of one of them, but I think it's fine to have both of them. I mean, you saw last night what that can do for you on fantasy every week. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about him. I have all my fab left. Should I pick up Emmanuel Wilson to block the Jacobs owner? He should never start for me, though. You could. If you think you're going to run into the Jacobs owner in playoffs, then that's going to keep you from, doing it. Dirty little trick, but I'm not against it. Carson says rebuild 12-team Superflex. Trade away Devonta Smith plus Derrick Henry for a 27 first, second, and third. It's probably fair value. I think Smitty himself is probably worth a first. Henry these days is probably a second plus. This is probably fair value. So if you do, want to make this move in a rebuild, I don't mind it. The value is only going to increase for the picks. The value for Derrick Henry and Devonta Smith not as much, but for Derrick Henry, he's only going to get worse over time. So probably going to be okay with this deal if you want to do this one. Bruce City Bob says Kyron, a 27 first and a 28 first for McBride and a full PPR tight end premium. Heavy contender. Also Pierce or Shakir if Marv doesn't play. Full PPR. Thanks, brother. I mean, that's a lot. 2 firsts and Kyron for McBride, but a full point per reception for a tight end premium. And you do have Trey McBride on the other side. It's hard to look at that and say that guy's not a 30, 40 point difference maker for you every single week in the tight end spot. So it's going to be hard for me to say no to that. If it's a heavy contender and this is going to put you over there to win a championship, all for it. I'm all for it. I don't mind it if that's the price to pay. But you're going to know your team better than me as far as a heavy contender. If you are, go for it. Push the chips in. As far as Pierce and Shakir from if Marv doesn't play, I think for me, I'm going to go with Shakir over Pierce. It's tough for Kansas City's defense. That Alec Pierce has Kansas City's defense. That's tougher. I like the matchup a little bit better for Shakir. It's Houston, which is still another tough defense, but I think Shakir has a more prominent role in the offense, or at least more reliable floor type of role in the offense. Kevin, what's up, man? Appreciate you, dude. I kind of hate wearing it on stream usually because I feel like the purple in the background always looks weird, but I feel like with the hood up, it looks fine. I don't know, whatever. Jonathan says, so my 10-1 team, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex for the Caleb Rome stack, Igbuka, Rome, and AJ at the flex. Do have Hurts as well. Am I crazy to think about benching both because I have Trey Henderson and Marvin Harrison Jr.'s or Jones Jr.? Are you crazy of benching both? I mean, I would be playing Travion Henderson this week. Rome, Igbuka. I mean, I would rather play Rome over Marvin right now, but I think that's it. So I think the only one that I would try and do would be benching one of these. I guess you got to bench one. I'm not benching both. I think I'm benching one, which is Rome, for Travion Henderson. Hopefully that answered your question. Rob is Rico and CMC. Running backs are Rico and CMC. That makes sense. I think I like Hendo over Rico, to be honest. Herb, Burrow, CMC, JT, QJ, Woody, Monty, Travion Henderson, B-Rob, Puka, Tet, Sutton, Higgins, Franklin. 2-2-2 flex. I'm considering trading Woody and QJ for Chase Brown. Would do that in a heartbeat. I would absolutely do that in a heartbeat. The trade, because I don't think Woody's good. If I'm just being honest and blunt with you, I don't think Woody's that good. And Chase Brown's definitely going to make a bigger difference in your lineup each week than those guys. So if I'm going 2-2-2 for Herb versus Burrow, it's obviously going to be Herbert this week. It's going to be CMC and JT right now. The 2 wide receivers are going to be Puka and Tet. The 2 flexes are going to be Travion Henderson and probably both the tight ends. You probably have to play a tight end with Bowers, and then Tyler Warren would also be playing for me. Do you view T-Law and Stroud the same in Dynasty? Pretty similarly. I think I still view Stroud over T-Law, but I think it's only because I've seen him be shit for less time than I've seen T-Law be shit. But I don't love either of them. I don't feel super comfortable with either of those guys as a QB1. They're QB2s for me. Was getting mocked in my league from first to sixth. Think I have a plan moving forward. I think you do too, man. I appreciate you asking the questions as always. Have buy spots to fill this week. Drop options: DJ Moore, Fannin, Pitts, or Pierce. Pickup options are Tucker, Emmanuel, Kenny Gainwell. What order do you rank the drops and the pickups? All right, so if I'm dropping anybody, it's going to be in order of Fannin is my first drop. Pierce is my second. DJ Moore is my third. Pitts my fourth. So that's in order of who I would drop first to last. The pickup options, I would go Tucker 1, Wilson 2, Gainwell 3. The way that you have it, that would be the order. Do you think Wilson has a good shot at starting this week? How much fab would you drop for either Wilson or Knight? I'm not dropping a ton on Knight. I think he's a week-to-week guy. I guess Wilson's kind of the same way. For wide receiver, I'm not spending too much of fab. 5 to 10% maybe if you really need a wide receiver, but I would call Marv right now a 50-50. And I know that doesn't give you much clarity, but usually those injuries are 1 to 2 weeks. He could be 2 weeks, but it's usually 1 to 2 weeks for him in that surgery. So we'll see what happens with him. I'm not spending a bunch of money on either of these Cardinals guys, even though they had good weeks. Woody Marks for AJ Brown? Hell yes. Absolutely all day long. Yes, sir. Not even thinking about the Woody Marks side of this deal. JT, Judkins, Harvey, Marks, Tootin, Lamb, London, Diggs, Odunze. Yep. Give me AJ Brown. Shakir or K9? I'm going with K9, I think, this week. Does Kenneth Walker return to Seattle? Trying to figure out if I should move Charbonnet. I don't know. I kind of feel like Kenneth Walker could do with a change of scenery, and I feel like Seattle may let him test that market. If I had to pick one side today, I'm going to guess that he gets to test the open market. Doesn't mean that the market will be open for him. It's a good free agent class. There's lots of good free agents in this class at the running back position. Have we given up on Jalen McMillan, or do we see something with how injured Godwin Evans have been? I don't think that he's shown us anything to give up on him. I still think long term, if you had to ask me what do the Bucs wide receivers look like long term, it's going to be Igbukah number 1. I think Godwin potentially a number 2, and I think McMillan will be 3 with Tez Johnson. He's going to be mixed in somewhere. I think Evans is the odd man out long term, and I don't have a ton of confidence in Godwin either. Really, the only one I have major confidence in is Igbukah, but Jalen McMillan, I'm not knocking him out of my rankings or giving up on him because he's been hurt. You know, it's not really his fault. He was good when he was on the field last year. Full PPR, Tet or JMO rest of season. I would rather have Tet or McMillan. Glad I played Purdy over Flacco, but I'm feeling Brissett this week. Am I tripping? I mean, if I'm looking at my rankings right now, I have Purdy the highest of all of those players. It's Purdy, then Brissett, and then Flacco for me is lower at 18. So I'm going with Purdy personally, but I have them back to back. So if your gut's telling you Brissett, then do what you got to do, man. Says Danny Dimes or Dart this week. I got Danny higher than Dart, but I think that's just because I'm waiting for him to clear concussion protocol fully and be announced the starter. I think we expect him to be, but I need to see that happen through practice with no limited sessions. What's up, Nolan? He said, I had to trade Caleb. The deal was too good. Now I'm intrigued. I want to know what you got for Caleb to make it worth it. Thoughts on Godwin Reed for fantasy playoffs? No interest in Godwin at all, really. I guess that's harsh, but I think really for me, I don't have a lot of interest in Godwin. And I think it's just because the matchups are tough the rest of the way. And coming off of an injury that you re-aggravated, I don't even know if Godwin's going to be like fully effective the rest of the year. So I don't have a ton of confidence in him. Reed, I have more confidence in coming back and being involved. But I think he's still going to be like number 2 in the pecking order potentially. And it's going to be messy, I think, now with Christian Watson in the mix and Matthew Golden also going to be healthier down the stretch. If I had to keep one, I'm keeping Reed over Godwin. Full PPR, ETN, Brees, or Devonta Smith. I'm going to be going with... Good question here. I'm going to go with Devonta Smith, though. I think he's probably the player that I have to play. That Dallas matchup is the matchup we've always wanted to target for wide receivers. That's who they get this week. Give me Smitty, man. Give me Smitty. Where are we at here? Insidious is here with this question. Says, would you drop Pacheco for Emmanuel Wilson, Sean Tucker, or Michael Wilson? Got solid depth everywhere, but could use a better chance at a home run player. Michael Wilson's not the home run for the rest of season. Sean Tucker, maybe, but I still think Bucky's going to be back. Emmanuel Wilson, I still think Josh Jacobs is going to be back. I'm okay doing it if you need somebody to play this week. If you don't need somebody to play this week, I think the one I feel the most confident in rest of season is Pacheco. Hopefully that answers it a little bit better. Love or Darnold? The Jordan Love experience has been such a pain in the ass. I'm going Darnold. I'm going Darnold over Love. Pick 2 of the 3 wide receivers. CD, AJ, Nico. I think I'm going to go with CD, and I think I'm going to go with AJ over Nico. Then pick 2 flex, including the third. with Rico, Dunze, J-Mo, and Alec Pierce. Okay, so that actually makes it easier. So then give me Nico and Rico. So CD, AJ, Nico, Rico. Those are going to be the ones that I play. If Al Canto get Christian Watson, I'm assuming if I can get Christian Watson from waivers, would you get, if I can't get Christian Watson from waivers, would you get Tez or Yoshavash? Probably Yoshi. Jacobs in a second or Sutton, Manungai in a first. Both picks should be late. I think the value is on the Sutton, Manungai in a first side of this deal, without the context of the team. If I'm a contending roster, I want the Jacobs side, but the value side is on Sutton in the first. Trade deadline. Do most leagues do that? Most leagues do, I think. We do them in my leagues. I don't have an issue with that. I know some people are super picky about no trade deadlines in Dynasty. I disagree. But yeah, most leagues I think do trade deadlines. I think it's more unpopular to not have a deadline at all. Which kicker would you take this week, Myers or Elliott? I have Myers higher than Elliott. Is Franklin the wide receiver one in Denver? He's not the wide receiver one to me, but he's been playing damn good. I think he's a legitimate number 2 for the Broncos. Nate says take Jacobs in the second. I think for contenders, absolutely. Got Joe Burrow in a league where there's no IR spots. Is it worth keeping for the playoffs? I have Dak and Brock is on waivers. Yeah, I mean, he's worth holding for the playoffs. I think you can play Dak this week. You can play Dak next week, and you might be, right in time where Burrow's back. So, yeah, I have no issue, keeping Dak as the guy you plug into the lineup for the next 2 weeks and then just having Burrow after that. Half PPR, 2 running backs. I got Judkins, Kamara, only with Devon out. Would you play Spears over Kamara? God damn, man. Excuse me. I think looking at my rankings, sorry, I almost died there. I think maybe the thought of having to play Kamara over Spears might have killed me almost. I got Kamara over Spears in my rankings, but man, this is bottom of the barrel type of plays right now. But I get it. It is where you are. I'm still going Kamara. Full PPR, flex worthy, Washington, Ferguson, Tez, or Kamara, pick one. I think I'm probably going to go with either Ferguson or Worthy, and I'm probably going to lean Worthy. Brissett or Daniel Jones this week? Jacoby has been steady lately. I still got Daniel Jones over him. He's been good, though. He's been fine. Not going to lie, I'm having a hard time finding a way to tear down from Jettas, and yes, it's redraft. Makes sense. I think if you're, struggling with tearing down from a Jettas, maybe you tear down from... Maybe you tear down from a Rice instead and still do the same idea, or down tier from a CD and do the same idea. But something like that. Where are we at? Keenan says, would you drop Brian Robinson to pick up 2? And I don't have either CMC or ETN, but I want to have their backups. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I look at it as like upside, right? Like right now, this is handcuff season. This is stash season. So if I'm looking at guys that I think are going to potentially be league winners down the stretch, without an injury to ETN, I think the backfield's still messy. And the rest of season schedule for the Niners is better. I would rather have B-Rob, because if CMC goes down, B-Rob is an RB1, in my opinion. So I think I'd rather still have B-Rob. I have Diggs, Reed, Franklin. Those are my wide receivers 4, 5, and 6. Am I okay or do I need better depth? I think you're okay right now. I wouldn't mind, sneaking in one more guy there potentially. But I think that's fine depth for now. No context. Who do you like for the flex or upside? Wilson, Tootin, Yoshavash, or Tillman? I mean, if I'm picking one, no context is crazy, by the way. No context, and then want me to answer the question. I mean, I guess if I have to pick one for the upside, my mind goes to like who has the most upside this week, and it's probably Wilson or Yoshavash. I'm probably gonna go with Wilson. That's crazy though. That's a crazy for no context. What's your favorite Thanksgiving side? Whew, I don't know. I mean, I'm a sucker for some mashed potatoes, and like mashed potatoes done right. Like it's got to be a little bit, it can't be that clumpy mashed potatoes. It's got to be that whipped, creamy mashed potatoes. It is what it is. Pause that, of course, but it's got to be some nice mashed potatoes. I like some mac and cheese. Really, if you can get some homemade, like fresh baked rolls, those are fire as well. I mean, Thanksgiving is good, man. I'm looking forward to next week. I'm ready to eat, man. One of the better holidays in my opinion. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but I think one of the better holidays you can celebrate every year. JMO dynasty value, looking to unload picks. He's probably still worth like a late first, early second. I would probably think that most people want a late first for him still. Should have specified I was talking Emmanuel Wilson. Emmanuel Wilson. Do I think he has a good shot? Okay, you know what? Dustin, for your question, yes, I like Emmanuel Wilson more, and I think he has a good shot at starting this week. Yes. Browns or Ravens defense? I have Browns defense 1 and Ravens defense 2. So there you go. Who would you drop for Wilson? Judy, Hawkinson, T-Law, Jaden Daniels, Fannin, or Otten? It's one of the tight ends. I think for me it's Fannin, probably. Kevin says you done with 9. No way. I think it's... Look, this is the most that I'll say because I am kind of sick of... I think the people that hate JJ McCarthy just getting on me for being a fan of JJ McCarthy. I'm kind of sick of that shit. But at the end of the day, look, it hasn't been ideal. It has been less than I had imagined JJ McCarthy would be, I think, so far this year. Am I done with him? Hell no. It's the kid's 5th start in the league. Like, for me as a fan, if I'm being realistic with myself, I need to see the rest of this year, and I want to see next season. If he plays all of next season and looks bad or doesn't look like he's improved much, I'm okay having conversations about moving on and finding another quarterback. But the idea of people saying to move on or be done with JJ McCarthy now, ridiculous. Here's my thing. You can't beg and people who, have been around the Vikings for a while, you don't go from Cousins to Darnold to, all these other guys. And then every year people are saying, why are we playing with these middle of the road quarterbacks? We should go draft our franchise quarterback. You don't get to say that. And then when you draft the franchise quarterback, bitch about the franchise quarterback not being a veteran type of quarterback immediately. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If you wanted the rookie, you better put up with developing a rookie. That's just my thoughts and opinions. I was team go get a rookie. I'm down to develop and get a rookie up to speed. It may take time. So, I'm willing to give him all of 2026 as the starter. And if you look bad after that, then, let's have a conversation. But fuck all that bullshit talk of moving on from him after 5 games. And sorry for my language, but fuck that, man. That just pisses me off. And I'm sick of you motherfuckers in the chat that be talking to me about JJ McCarthy XYZ just because you don't want to believe in him. Doesn't mean I don't have to believe in him. I'm a fucking Vikings fan, man. It is what it is. I'm going to believe in him until it's too late. That's just the nature of being a fan of the team. But it is what it is. How long do you think London will be out for? And if you were to ship him away, who would you grab? It's tough to tell. Probably like 2 to 3 weeks with him right now is probably what I'm looking at. Probably still going to think he's going to be a player that I can plug into my lineup come fantasy playoffs. So I think it's an interesting case, I think, for him. Really what that means, what would I ship him away for? You're not going to be able to get the most for him right now because of the injury. If you're trading him, you're probably trading him for like an Olave, a Devonta Smith, a T. Higgins, a George Pickens. Like, that's probably what you're moving him for. It's less than what he's probably worth. Do you think Emmanuel has a good shot at playing? I think he does. Is it time to consider QJ as a drop candidate? I think so. Who would you drop for Alec Pierce, Tez or Washington? I would rather drop Washington. Trying to sell Jacobs in Dynasty in a retool. Around what value should I be looking for in picks? Probably a late first still for me, early second at the minimum. But I think that's about where you're at. If I'm getting the early minimum, or the early second, I'm trying to get them to throw some extra stuff in the deal as well. Carson says, I'm subbing just for the Thanksgiving take. Solid work on fantasy too. Appreciate you, Carson. How do we feel about this? I traded CD for Diggs and Dowdle, struggling with running backs. I get it in a redraft. I think CD just has the most upside for playoffs. Is Garendo droppable in Dynasty? I'm not dropping him, but I play in some deep leagues. If it's a shallower league, I think you can drop him. But if it's any type of deeper league, I'm talking like 25-ish roster spots or more, I'm just going to hold him. Is it okay to drop Dicker on his bye week and have Myers rest of season, or is Dicker worth putting on the bench? I think it's okay dropping if you need the play. But if you're not going to start Myers this week, then I'm not dropping Dicker. Different league, trying to get JT off of a bottom team that I have Caleb, Rome, Stack, JJ, Stack, and Puka and Brees. Think I'd get JT for JJ, Stack, and Brees. I'm going to have to read that again because I just had an aneurysm. Different league, trying to get JT off of a bottom team. I have Caleb and Rome, Stack, JJ, Stack, and Puka and Brees. Think I'd get JT for JJ, Stack, and Brees. He also got Lamar. So it would be Justin Jefferson and JJ McCarthy and Brees for JT. If it's a dynasty, I'm not doing that. A redraft, maybe. But a dynasty, I'm not doing that. The Vikes shouldn't have let their franchise quarterback walk. Darnold. Disagree still. I still disagree. I am a firm believer that in this league, you build championship type of rosters, or the best way to potentially build a championship roster is to build around a rookie quarterback's contract. Think of Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. They got to the Super Bowl when he was on a rookie contract. Unless you're hitting on a top 5, top 10 quarterback in the NFL, period, it's impossible to build a elite team around a quarterback that's not being paid. Even Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl on a rookie contract. So I think it's tough, to say that Sam Darnold on $40 million is the right decision. Obviously, he's playing well. I'm not going to disagree with that. But I think if you want the most upside for the roster, you go for the rookie quarterback route. You just got to hit on the rookie quarterback. I think that's the only thing you have to do. So easier said than done. But I still, don't think that giving a bunch of money to Darnold was the solution either. That's why you got off of Kirk Cousins, because you didn't want to give Kirk Cousins a lot of money. So it could go back 2 different quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? If you really wanted to make the best argument possible, you could say, give Daniel Jones the money that he wanted based off of how Daniel Jones is playing. I think he just wanted the shot to start. He didn't think he was going to start in Minnesota. Is Achane an S-tier running back? Let's be real. He's elite and outperformed Gibbs and is the same. I don't think so. I'd still have Bijan and Gibbs as the 2 S-tiers, and that's it. Might trade Lamb and T-Law for Achane and Baker. I'm not opposed to that. This is not the Browns. They can win. Can they? The defense hasn't been as good this year. I don't know. I haven't seen a good enough football team this year from all assets. I haven't seen as good a special teams as we've been in years past. I haven't seen as good of a defense as we've had in years past. And the offense obviously hasn't been as good. But I think all aspects of this team have been worse this year, not just the quarterback play. A real quarterback like May. I mean, look, I go back to the NFL draft. I was team Drake May in Minnesota. I wanted him more than anybody. They hired Josh McCown for the quarterback. McCarthy was my second choice because I didn't think that Daniels and Caleb would be around. But I wanted May, and they offered a bag for May. New England just turned it down. They offered 3 firsts to trade up and get Drake May. I'm a Wolverine fan, and I didn't like McCarthy in college. That's fair. Is Chris Rodriguez a good ad? I think he is. Who would you trade for? And we're at about an hour, folks, so I'm going to speed through the rest of this, and then we're going to get out of here. Too much Vikings talk at the end, too. I should be answering your guys' questions. But, hey, that's what you guys wanted to talk about, right? Who would you trade for out of Tootin, JCM, and Pacheco? Are these players Otton, Fannin, or Hawkinson a fair trade for any of them? I mean, I'm not interested in JCM right now. I'm not interested in Pacheco. Tootin would be a guy that I'd be interested in. I think the 2 players that I have the most interest in this deal would be Tootin and Hawkinson. But maybe it's fair. It's going to depend on your league settings and your scoring and stuff. For Thanksgiving, is it turkey or ham, or if you freaky like that, chicken? I am freaky like that, by the way. It's turkey for us over here, but yeah, it's still turkey for us. I don't mind chicken on it either. We're not a ham family though. How many likes will it take to see you do the gritty live on stream? I'm gonna need y'all to hit 100 if you want to see me do the gritty, because I have attempted to do the gritty many times in my life, and I'll tell you, brother, it looks exactly how you think about it. Just look at this white man, and it's probably gonna look like a white man hitting the gritty. You've probably seen kids hit the gritty better than me, so I'm gonna need 100 likes if y'all are wanting me to hit the gritty on the next live stream. But I love it. Pick one PPR, Mooney, Downs, Judy, Godwin if he plays. Probably gonna go with Mooney or Downs. I think I'll go Mooney. Browns, Rams, Steelers, D. Give me the Browns. Jalen, Warren, Pittman, BTJ. I'm going with Warren and Pittman. Obviously, if Warren doesn't play, you go BTJ and Pittman. Drop any of Sean Tucker, Jaden Higgins, Algier, or Tez for Burden or Gainwell. I'd be okay dropping Higgins for Gainwell if you need somebody to play this week. Tez for Gainwell if you need somebody to play this week. If you don't need any of them to play this week, I think I'd rather have Tez dropped for Burden for long-term upside rest of the season. Would it be a fair offer for Tyler Warren and Olave? Would it be fair to offer Tyler Warren and Olave? What would be a fair offer for Tyler Warren and Olave? Roster is JT, Judkins, Marks, Harvey, Tootin, Lamb, London, Odunze, Diggs. I'm in first. The other team is in last, and they need skill player depth. I mean, again, this is going to be league dependent, scoring dependent. It's hard for me to know without knowing the scoring settings, because that can change your offers quite drastically. But if I'm going for Olave, I'm probably trying to offer Harvey off of the chance that he's a rest of season, starter for you. Because I think for you, you're going to play JT and Judkins most weeks. So I'm okay with going, Harvey for Olave as a first initial ask. And then for Tyler Warren, can I bundle Marks and Diggs or Marks and Odunze together if, there's any value there for the tight end position in your scoring settings? Do you see McLaughlin having a big role with Harvey? Maybe. I think he's the other running back involved. So similar to how we saw JK and Harvey working with each other, I think it'll be McLaughlin and Harvey working with each other. It was redraft for the last one. Thanks for the advice, broski. Till next time. Appreciate you, Jonathan. Mostly says, if we want to pivot or move CD as a contender, who are we targeting? You probably gotta... you probably got to target guys like Amon-Ra, Egbuka, JSN. We're still in the upper echelon. Like, that's probably where we're looking. Justin Jefferson. Those are the names we're looking at. My guy counted on the trade as I received JSN for a 27 early first, 26 early second, and RJ Harvey. This would be the second executed trade you and I have done together on one of these lives. So the trade, I received JSN for a 27 early first, a 26 early second, and RJ Harvey. I don't mind it. I think the value's fine. I mean, people are going to say that early first is going to be Jeremiah Smith. And there's only one Jeremiah Smith, but JSN's right here, right now, a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy. So, yeah, I'm probably okay doing it, especially if you're trying to win some games right now still. Thoughts on the Texans D for Thursday Night Football? I currently have the Texans as my defense 17 on the week. So I definitely don't have them anywhere high. I'm going to mark Dustin. I'm going to mark your comment as the cutoff because, like I said, we're past an hour. So your comment is the cutoff. Once I get to you, we'll be done for the night. Appreciate everybody else. Carson says, you are a top 3 fantasy football YouTuber in my book. I appreciate it, Carson. Truly, it means a lot. Put a lot of time into this. So when people put me into their daily routine, put me in the rotation of content creators and plenty of talented, knowledgeable content creators in this business. But when people put you in that, upper echelon, it means a lot. I don't take that lightly, so thank you very much, Carson. Any insight on Hawkinson? He's been trashed this year so far, very untrustworthy rest of season. Yeah, I mean, the schedule's fine for him rest of season, but I think until we see some consistency from J.J. McCarthy, he's too far down the pecking order. It's Jefferson, it's Addison, and then right now it's like those are the only 2 guys that we can probably rely on getting any sort of targets each week. And Hawkinson's just not getting the volume. The offense isn't moving fast enough, so I agree with you. He's pretty untrustworthy right now. Dustin says, appreciate the help. We're going to get that gritty on the next one. Get ready. If you could get 100 likes, I'll do it. I swear to God, I'll do it. But we have not ever hit 100 likes on a stream. That is far away from anything that we've done. So if you do it, I'll sit here and do the gritty for 60 seconds straight. I'll turn the song on, Will. Right foot creep. We'll do that right now. So you better be ready too. Get your like buttons ready. And Insidious says, thank you, Andrew. Catch you next time. Appreciate you, man. Look, that's it, folks. Been about an hour answering fantasy football questions. We do this every week, multiple times a week, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays before the game. So if I didn't get to your question today, make sure to come catch us on Friday. Or if you want to answer it sooner, the best way to do that is to go join our free Discord. We do have a free Discord linked in the description. There's plenty of people in there that are going to want to talk to you about fantasy football all day long. So not only are you going to get my opinion from time to time in that Discord, you're going to get other people's opinion as well. So it's a good place to kind of bounce some ideas off of each other, dynasty, redraft, whatever it may be. Like I said, free to join. Go check the link in the description. It's going to be down there. And I think you guys will enjoy what you see in there long term. But look, man, other than that, do me the favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Plenty of content coming this week, as always. And tomorrow, wide receiver and running back rankings on the channel. But with all of that being said, Bando, I'm going to hit you with the last one, man. I'm going to give you the buzzer beater. Laporta for Fannin in a first or hold. I think I would rather have Fannin in the first, I think, right now. But that's it, man. I have nothing else for you guys today. So like I said, like, comment, subscribe. See you on the next one. Until then, peace out.